Principal interest or interest only part 2. So a couple of days ago I made a video about the differences between P&I and IO, mechanically speaking. And today I wanted to, give a bit of a summary of the general advice that we find most of our clients get from their accountants or their financial planners when deciding which type of repayment type to select for their loans. So starting with owner-occupied lending, in the vast majority of cases, the recommendation is to make this principal and interest. So 2 reasons for this. One is that the price gap between owner-occupied P&I and owner-occupied IO is quite large. For a lot of banks, it will be 0.4, 0.5%. And the reason for this is that the banks don't really want people on owner-occupied interest only in the current climate. They much prefer people to be paying it down principal and interest. So the cost is quite prohibitive. But secondly, most people have a desire to pay down their owner-occupied debt from, a safety and security point of view, to have less debt on their home. But also, given it's non-deductible debt, there's not really the huge advantages of keeping that debt high. So vast majority of cases, the recommendation will be principal and interest on an owner-occupied loan. When it comes to investment, I find there's 2 main situations. So if the client only has an investment loan and they don't have an owner-occupied property, it's somewhat a matter of preference whether they go principal and interest or interest only, because paying down that debt can be useful. It can help further borrowing capacity, and you're not really able to utilize the extra cash flow that you get from interest only towards paying off non-deductible debt, because you don't have any non-deductible debt. And so if you only have deductible debt, the general consensus for a lot of accountants and financial planners, you may as well pay this down, because eventually we want to be sort of debt-free in every regard. The one where it's more common to have interest only is when a client's got a home loan as well as an investment loan. And in the vast majority of cases here, we will then have the home loan on principal and interest, but the investment loan on interest only. And the reason for this is A, that the price difference between principal and interest only on investments smaller. So we're typically looking at about 0.2% rather than 0.4 or 0.5 on owner-occupied. But secondly, that additional cash flow can be used to then funnel towards the owner-occupied or the offset account, which ultimately leads you to paying less non-deductible interest and getting that home loan to zero as fast as possible. And so in most cases, where there's both investment debt and owner-occupied debt, the preference is to have the investment loan as interest only and funnel all the additional cash flow towards your home to have this paid off or offset as soon as possible.